Hey guys, Dr. D here. I want to talk to you today about your thyroid because I think that there's so many questions out there about thyroid and there's a lot of misconceptions and people are all over the place about which thyroid replacement is best and like, do you even need it? And is my metabolism just low? Is that why I'm gaining weight? And so today I just want to clarify that with you and teach you all about your thyroid and what you can do to optimize it. All right, guys, today we're gonna get into thyroid. Now, I've done other videos in which I talk about thyroid testing and how important it is to get a more comprehensive thyroid test than just kind of the standard TSH test that maybe I've always gotten in the emergency department or maybe that a lot of primary care doctors get to just screen. I've talked about how like the normals of TSH really are not optimal. You know, having a TSH up to 4.5 is normal. That is not optimal. You do not want your TSH above 2.5. But today I want to just teach you a little bit about thyroid medication and the difference and what you can do in order to optimize your thyroid function, even without testing, even without being sure that you need anything. The advice I'm going to give you just helps our thyroid to be healthier. So first, let's talk about medication. So basically there are two broad categories of thyroid medication. One is levothyroxine, or Synthroid is the trade name, and the other is a combination of T4 and T3 under the names of like NP thyroid or Armour thyroid. So what's the difference? Well, to understand the difference, we first need to understand what is T4 and what is T3. So the thyroid gland produces T4, but T4 is a fairly inactive thyroid hormone, meaning that it doesn't cause the cells to do the things that the active form, T3, actually does. And so Synthroid, levothyroxine, is just T4. But our bodies have to be able to take that T4 and convert it into T3 for it to be metabolically active. And so what's that mean? Well, it means that if you have a body that for whatever reason is not adequately converting T4 to T3, putting you on simply levothyroxine is not going to have the benefit that you intend for it to. And that's where medication like NP thyroid or Armour thyroid come in, because they contain both T4 and T3. Remember, T3 is the active thyroid hormone. The other thing that confounds all of this is that our bodies make T4, but then the liver has to convert T4 to T3. And if it's not converting it to T3, it's converting it to something called reverse T3. It's kind of a way for the body to buffer to make sure that we don't have too much thyroid hormone where we get, rapid heart rate and heat intolerance and anxiety. And so it's definitely a beautiful way that God created that. But if I don't check to see if you have elevated reverse T3, then I simply don't know that you do. And so that kind of gets back into the thyroid testing, but I digress because that's not what we're talking about today. So two big categories of thyroid hormone: levothyroxine, or combination of, which is T4, or a combination of both T4 and T3. But what about optimizing our thyroid? So first of all, the thyroid is a gland that sits right in here. Typically, you don't feel it overly. I mean, if you start feeling it and it's getting big, then you probably have a goiter, and that's a different discussion for a different day. But how do we optimize our thyroid? Well, a lot of it comes down to having the required micronutrients that our bodies need in order for the thyroid hormone to be produced in appropriate amounts. And so there's a few key things, there's more, but there's a few key things that are important for doing that I see are low in a lot of people. One of those is vitamin D. Vitamin D is very important for all sorts of parts of our body. I mean, it's important for our immune function, it's important to prevent cancer, it's important for our mood, it's important for our sleep, it's important for our energy production. But vitamin D3 is also important for how the thyroid is making its hormones. Another key component that is needed is ferritin. So ferritin is a storage form of iron, but ferritin is very important for the thyroid to function optimally. So I would recommend that you at least have your ferritin and your vitamin D level checked. 96% of people are deficient in vitamin D. You'll see the range from LabCorp says 30 to 100 is normal. That's not normal. I want you to be north of 50 or 60 with your vitamin D level. Ferritin, ideal is 80 or above. And so I see a lot of people who have low ferritin, low vitamin D. So that's one of the things that I'm going to do is optimize them. Another test I don't usually get levels of, but people often don't get enough in, is a nutrient called selenium. So selenium is important for thyroid function. If you simply eat 3 or 4 Brazil nuts a day, you're going to get enough selenium for your body to function optimally. And so vitamin D, ferritin, and selenium. Now, it's also important that we have good gut health, because one of the things that can happen if I have increased intestinal permeability, or kind of what the layperson calls leaky gut, that can allow these foreign proteins into my bloodstream so that my body starts making antibodies to that. Well, that might be all fine and good until we realize that sometimes those foreign proteins actually look like parts of our body, like our thyroid. So one of the things that I check on patients is something called TPO antibodies, thyroid peroxidase antibodies. And the other thing that I test for is thyroglobulin antibodies. And if I see that those are high, then I can start assuming that there's this autoimmune phenomenon going on that's probably related to poor gut health. And so then we start addressing that. So why is this even important? Well, thyroid, to a huge degree, regulates our metabolism. And just like everything else in our body, it works in concert with other things. So as an example, if we're having some adrenal dysfunction where our cortisol is running really high or really low, that affects how the body's converting T4 to T3. So that gets into, the need to have stress reduction techniques and mindfulness and self-care. All this stuff is a symphony, guys, and it all works in concert. Nothing works in a silo in our bodies. And so thyroid is going to regulate your metabolism. So it's true, like if you have hypothyroidism, underperforming thyroid, that is going to lead to weight gain, low energy, can even affect mood disorders and lead to depression. And so optimizing the thyroid is always a good idea. And so if you take these pearls today and you start applying them to your life, you're making sure that you're utilizing some mindfulness and self-care, that you're relaxing some, you make sure that your vitamin D and ferritin levels are optimized, you're getting enough selenium in your diet for your thyroid to work fine. All that's going to lead to elevation of your health and wellness. Listen, I hope that this video has blessed you. I'm going to ask you again to hit the subscribe button so that every week I can bring you tactical advice that's going to help you on your journey to find well. If you're looking for an office that can help you unpack issues about your thyroid or your other hormones, can examine you for adrenal dysfunction and your cortisol being off, we're the place to do that. You can check out our website at AlphaOmegaWellness.com. We'd be happy to walk out health and wellness with you, because our goal is to take care of 360 degrees of you. We address your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual sides. We just want to help you find well. And I got to tell you, ultimately, I think that there's one source to that, and that's not me, that's Jesus. And so I just want to encourage you, if you don't have a relationship with him yet, at least explore it. Just go on a quest. Go on a quest to find truth, because for me, that's been pivotal in my life for helping me to get my relationship healthy, for helping me to get physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually healthy. I just want to encourage you to do that. Hey, listen, until next time, take care, be healthy, and let us help you to find well.